Welcome to this week's episode of the Evolve to Succeed podcast. My guest this week is Josh Williams of Town. Quite often on the podcast, we have established businesses come and tell their stories, or perhaps they've even sold and exited their business. But actually this week, Josh's story is of an individual that founded his business or co-founded his business just 12 months ago. And he's come to tell his story of what those early days are like, the raw story about what it takes to start a business and gain momentum. I really hope you're enjoying the podcast, and if so, do subscribe on your favourite channel, help us. And if you want to know more about Evolve, do go to evolveadvisory.co.uk. But for now, let's get on with the show. Welcome, Josh, to the Evolve to Succeed podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's going to be great to have a conversation with you, to talk about your startup story, the business Town, and what it's all about. But we'll also want to understand a bit of your backstory and kind of your plans and your aspirations for the future, and hopefully you'll be going to be able to distill a bit of kind of facts and kind of dispel some kind of myths about starting your own business for those out there thinking about doing it. So let's start with probably the opening question. Tell us about the business Town. How did it come about and what does it do?
Okay, so very open-ended. Town is a community platform first and foremost. And it's a platform for people who want to discover where they live and really get to know it a little bit more. It's a platform for people who are kind of fed up with online giants like Amazon, to name one, that have taken their monopoly and they're serving a really, I think, a growing need among Gen Z and among people who are more conscious that the choices they make matter. That late night Amazon order that arrives early the next morning, that has a cost, even if it isn't immediately obvious to us. Town exists to create an alternative to these online giants for people who want to discover the local independent shops where they live, which we think is so much more of a better experience for everybody involved, not just for the place where you live. If you live in a town and you're spending money on Amazon, that money isn't staying in your town, it's going to America or to Ireland or wherever these big companies' headquarters are. We want that money to stay where people live. We're basically, we're providing a platform that makes it easier to do that. But first and foremost, it's a lifestyle that we want to try and convey the importance of to people and start a movement around that.
So there is real that sense of purpose, the sense of movement for local people to support local businesses.
Exactly. And right now we're not at the place that we want to be at. We're going to be releasing an app that's going to be live before the end of the year. That is going to be really exciting, and we can talk a little bit more about that later on. But right now our MVP is a website. And it's a website where people can sign up, they can get a town pass, and they can go to their favorite local cafe or restaurant or shop, and they can earn points, and they can gamify the experience of going out into a real shop and actually speaking to real people rather than going online.
And so the businesses that you will host on Town will need to be independent businesses?
They're independents only. We don't, no chains.
This is all about support the independent.
It's all about highlighting these people and kind of putting them on a platform because it's kind of fragmented. There's hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands at the very least in the UK alone. And I've lived in Poole my entire life, and I still go past places and I'm like, did you open last week? No, we've been here 17 years. I'm like, how? And I know that everybody has that. So we're kind of putting the layer in between businesses and people so that they can actually compete a little bit more with Amazon.
They become more visible, they can offer discounts, they can do all of those kind of things.
They're hiding away in lots of different places, and they're all doing their own things on social media or with websites, but there's nothing joining them together, pulling them all into one. And I think that aggregator is needed to solidify that and actually have local shopping, independent retail as an actual competitive option that can last and that can potentially compete against Amazon.
Definitely, I can see that. I can see that model. And you've started with Poole, haven't you? So obviously, I assume we'll probably come onto this. The ambitions is to roll this out in other locations, but why choose Poole?
Well, firstly, because I live here, so it makes sense. I know Poole well. So it was easy to get started here because I was like, in my head, right, this street has got a ton of great indie places. We know that this centre does well. And it's also just a really, really good town for Town. Like, it has everything that we think a good thriving town looks like.
Okay. What does that include then? What does a good thriving town in the UK in this day and age look like? Because the high street's much maligned, isn't it, as not really existing?
Yeah, the high street in Poole as well, it's worth saying, is not doing amazingly.
Yeah.
And that's not a unique problem.
No.
It's all across the country. But I think we're more towards fixing the problem than other places are. We've kind of started moving in that direction.
Yeah.
If you could say there's a 10-year span or a 15-year span that it takes to take a rundown, broken high street and transform it into something that's thriving, I'd say that we're further along that timeline than a lot of other towns in the UK might be. Yeah. And there's a lot of people here that really, really care and really want to make a difference, and they're doing really good things. Yeah. And for us, that energy is something that we can bounce off of.
Yeah, there is definitely. I mean, we've relocated Evolve to Poole. I grew up in Poole, and so I support your thing. But there is an energy about Poole, isn't there? That the people are trying to do something. There are businesses relocating, moving to the area, perhaps from across the conurbation elsewhere. And there is there's a great independent scene, be it in the old town or even within the Dolphin Centre, there's independent businesses in this day and age, isn't there?
Yeah. I think it's trying to join up different parties together and then working together, because it's like no one person is going to be able to change the course, but it's lots of people working together, and it's partnering with the right people to do that. And I know in Poole there are partners, Legal & General, the people at the Dolphin, the Kingland team. They're basically working together towards the same end goal, and that's really important. If you can align the interests of people, align the interests of landlords, of the general public, of operators in the area, of larger corporate partners, really positive change can be made, as evidenced.
As we're starting to see
in Poole.
Yeah. And so where did the original idea come from? Have you always had that dream, that passion to start your own business? Have you been in employed roles before? How did it happen for you, Josh?
For starting a business, just generally, I don't think I could be doing anything else.
Okay.
Ever, at all.
Why?
I think I'm totally and utterly unemployable at this point. I think as young as I can remember, whenever I did summer jobs working in cafes, like my first job was working as a pot wash in Money Cafe on Poole High Street for £3.50 or £4 an hour. But even during there, I was suggesting, I was like, oh, why don't we stock this? I've noticed that you're selling out of this item more on this day. Well, why are you not thinking about these product ranges? And wherever I'd go, I would clash heavily with management and with people who were senior to me, because I can't turn that part of my brain off that is constantly seeking to solve problems.
Okay.
It just
exists and it's there.
And it's there. And over time, I think I've come to accept that.
Yeah.
And I've done freelance stuff. I've had a couple of permanent roles, but I've never had a job that's lasted over 6 months. And I don't think that's because I don't care or I'm not passionate. I've got those in spades. But I think it's just those clashes, and I always am just chronically, pathologically bringing my own ideas.
And so what was that moment in time where the idea for Town came to fruition? It
was in December last year, 2024.
So we're coming up to 12 months into the journey. From conception, I guess, when it was just a seed in my brain, to today. And I came up with the idea while I was walking through an Amazon warehouse. Okay.
I was doing marketing freelancing at the time, and I got a temporary job in Amazon to help with seasonal for Christmas. And I was blown away by what I saw there, because it's DBH3, it's around the corner from us in Poole. Huge warehouse, 150,000 parcels go through there every day.
150,000.
Peak. Like 50,000 a day is normal.
Right.
And that's just serving the conurbation.
Wow.
So if you kind of multiply that out and do the maths, you can get to a average order per person per month.
Yeah.
And it is far too high, and it's unnecessary. And I think people are just addicted to this.
This side of your brain started to click.
And I was like, there's got to be more. And I think I just seen the dying high street, everything being run down, seen the news stories, and then seen Amazon doing so well.
Yeah.
And the conditions required for them to maintain this operation at its efficiency. And I thought there's something that's broken here. So we need a platform to help people reconnect with where they live.
And is your background therefore in tech, in developing tech, or have you had to, have you got a co-founder? How have you sort of developed that from that initial idea?
Yeah, so I'm great with ideas. When it comes to building them, you need somebody who knows how to do that. And so my co-founder, Aled, I'm forever grateful for. He is the tech prowess behind town who makes everything possible behind the scenes. He's been part-time up until now, but he is about to come full-time. So we're about to 5x our shipping speed, and I can't wait.
Right. Brilliant. And when you look at that journey over the last 12 months, what's your highlight during the course of that journey?
Ooh,
Josh.
I think it was the first sale. It was the first sale, because that was like evidence that we've built this thing based off of our own ideas. A lot of conversations too, but mainly just like, this is a thing that we think the world should have. So the validation when somebody goes, oh, I like this thing that you've made, I want to pay for it.
Yeah. So who's your first paying customer?
Our first paying customer that's still with us today is Limoncello. Limoncello. They were the first people who kind of took on board what we were doing. They got it first, and they ran with it. They introduced it to their customers loved it, and then we were kind of thinking, okay, we might have something here.
Right, brilliant. And what's your low point in that 12 months journey?
Okay, probably 3 a.m. sat up, tearing my hair out, bugs, things broken, and it's like, should we have done this? Is this the right call to make? You need both.
Yeah.
You need both, and the low points are definitely worth it. I don't think they're worth it for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, and the reason I'm doing this for, every sleepless night because something's broken and we've had a complaint or something's not gone right, it's going to be 100% worth it, and I do it again.
And you say it's worth it because you learn from it?
It's worth it because we learn from it, and it's also worth it. And I think that it is going to be hard.
Yeah.
I think that that's part of it. I don't think you can necessarily avoid that.
Yeah.
I think it's, especially the more difficult, or the more, like, the lower your odds of success are, if you're trying to do something that's a bit out there, that's a bit different, that not many people are trying to do.
Yeah.
You have to accept that risk from the outset. And it sucks when you're going through it, because you're like, what if I was right? You know, like, you're constantly doubting yourself.
How long before you think you'll expand to other sort of towns and areas?
We're already looking into it. So we've got we're looking into going into Boscombe, Wimborne, Dorchester, greater sort of Bournemouth area, including Southbourne, South Coast.
Right, so grow from Paul.
We're gonna get geographically outward from here. You can imagine it kind of spreading up through. We might skip bits. We might jump straight into London.
Yeah.
We might jump straight into Bristol. We might jump over to Brighton. There are a few kind of key hotspots that we think would work.
Okay, well, they're hot for independent businesses, but there must be somebody out there doing something similar, isn't there?
So we see our biggest competitor as Squid.
Okay.
So it's a Northern Irish startup. They raised 1.6 million euros around a year ago. So they've had a bit of a head start of us over. They're a loyalty rewards company. They operate with a similar ethos. They want to back independent businesses. They're kind of punching up against the larger corporates, but they do it in a different way to us.
Okay.
And the ecosystem is different enough to us that we don't really consider them like directly a competitor. They're kind of parallel to us. They're doing similar things with the rewards.
Yeah.
But we've got a whole other ecosystem that we want to develop as well.
Okay. And what's that ecosystem look like, feel like?
Okay. Well, we're going into blue sky territory now. So we're talking about our plans and the things that we are building, but we haven't released yet. But we think there is a version of an app that is doing kind of like the best things that Facebook does, Facebook community groups, and the way that you can kind of just organically explore and find things. And their algorithm's really good because it does surface groups that are near to you and that you're interested in. And it's because it's got all the data on you. So it can make genuinely really good suggestions. And there's that whole social aspect of connecting with people and with businesses.
Yeah.
Like if you travel back in time to 9 p.m., 7 p.m. last night, there is hundreds of thousands of people just sat at home, looking down, scrolling, looking at their glowing rectangle. And I don't think that's the default state for people to be in.
No.
But I think it's that they don't see any other options, or they're trapped in that. So we want town to kind of surface events and to have a whole ecosystem and community of people who live somewhere and who want to be going out and doing more things and connecting with people, as well as the business side and the rewards.
Okay. And that's where that community and building a community piece comes in.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to launch the app by the end of the year, what are the barriers that you're coming up against in going through that journey?
It's really difficult to develop apps. It's a really hard thing. And AI makes it easier. But for one person who is currently part-time still, going full-time soon, it's a lot of work. So for us, it's literally just working through, and it becomes a case of prioritization.
Yeah.
And thinking, well, what is the one big lever that we can add that's going to make the difference?
Yeah.
What features are people actually going to use? So for us, every hour, sort of every line of code becomes such a scarce resource because we've had this lean kind of approach to everything. And which is maybe good because we've been forced to take this approach because of the constraints we've had. But if we hadn't had these, we might have built more than we should have, built faster than we should have, built features people don't want. Whereas by taking this approach and having these such tight constraints in place, we're having to think so hard and so carefully about what is it that people are actually going to use. And so that's led our focus to be, speaking to business owners, we're not going to build something or add a feature unless we know that 5 people are going to use it the next day.
Yeah.
And so we've built up this sort of framework approach that we have to building tech, where it's led by need and demand. And if we can't find that, we don't build it. And that's kind of advice I would give to other people as well, is find the demand, find the pain point. If people don't want to rip the thing you're building out of your hands, if you can't make some kind of guarantee that's going to go, I will throw money at you, you need to kind of go back and rethink what you're doing.
Absolutely. And there's a whole book, isn't there? And there's a whole kind of movement, but there's a book called The Lean Startup, which is very much about that, is actually when you haven't got funds, then you've got to get your, MVP, your minimum viable product, right? You've got to focus on what customer needs. Whereas there is a school of thought that once you do go and get funding, you can become not lazy, but you can become defocused in trying to achieve everything and don't achieve anything. And you've therefore made a conscious decision to self-fund development and not go and seek some funding?
Kind
Josh?
of. It's just a little bit of a stop-start journey with that, because I think so many people found the founder type and like all of the stuff that you see on LinkedIn and Instagram Reels and TikTok, and everybody saying a certain thing. And I think the dominant school of thought, like you've mentioned, is that the first sort of milestone that you have to pass by, even before you can go and start playing in the real sandbox, is that you've got to secure that funding. And so how has this happened? How have we kind of been led down the path?
Yeah, because it never used to be that way.
No. And I think we've had a certain financial climate over the past 10 years that has basically led people to believe that the line is always going to go up and to the right. And there is always going to be capital somewhere, provided that you can prove that your idea is good enough. And so I think a lot of founders have it kind of backwards. And I was there before myself, like in the past, and it was only through kind of learning the lesson the hard way that it's not going to be as easy to raise £500 million as some guru on LinkedIn might make it out to be.
No, success doesn't come from a TikTok video, does it?
No, it comes from thousands of hours of the micro interactions and the figuring out the pain points and doing the work.
Yeah,
that I think a lot
that
of
makes you backable. Yeah,
exactly, and that's what builds you into the founder. You can't just skip all of that, go and get money, and that will solve all your problems. Not how it works.
Yeah, there's a very few that can achieve that. So do you think you'll go and get funding at some point, or do you think you're going to self-fund this project through to a conclusion?
We're not set. We're not set. We're open-minded.
Yeah.
Because we're very ambitious. We want to take Town on a very large stage, and so at some point, I'm not oblivious to the fact that we might require a certain amount of capital to do that, to scale. When you're growing fast and nobody knows who you are, you need to advertise. So I'm not blind to that. But where we are at the moment, I think it's optimal for us to not have that money, for it to be a bit harder. Yeah. And for us to feel these constraints.
Feel the friction.
Feel the friction, exactly, yeah. I think that is what we need. And I think it's what a lot more startups should do. As well, and maybe there'd be some extra funding for us if more people had done that.
So you've alluded to something just now, and I want to just come back to it. Have you had a startup before, or have you had ideas? That mind of yours, has it had ideas before that haven't come to fruition? And what makes you believe that Town is the one?
I've always been an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So when I was 12 years old, I edited Call of Duty videos for people on YouTube. I charged £5 for a 30-second edit. And I would do that all through the summer holidays. Whenever I got home from school, I'd be excited to jump on and start editing videos for people. When I was 15, I started selling sweets at school. That was a jump up. Instead of £5 for 30 seconds, I was taking home about £25 of profit every day. That then led me to buy my sort of first computer for myself. And then kind of continuing down that road, I've pretty much done every online money-making opportunity that you could find. Forex trading, crypto, paid communities, drop shipping. I've tried everything. Some have worked, some have made money, some haven't.
Yeah.
All of them have led me to just understand why people buy things or why they don't buy things. And they've kind of all filtered into learnings.
It's that university of life that you've been through, is it?
Yeah. I did go to uni, but I dropped out because it just wasn't the right fit.
Right.
And most of the things I've done that have failed, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But I think...
But we learn.
Yeah, we learn from that, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and town feels different.
Okay.
Town feels different because it's the first time that we focused on solving pain points. Yeah. And just not giving up until we've solved that and figuring out what's that number one thing that people need solving. And I think we've figured out what that is. I think we've figured out what that friction is in independent businesses that really annoys them and where they're losing money. And we're now building a solution to solve that.
Hello. If you're thinking about starting a business, you're probably feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. We get it. That's exactly why we built the Ignite Startup program. We work with you to turn your idea into reality, sharing guidance and allowing you to build a network of people and professionals who want to see you succeed. If you're at the beginning of your journey, then we'd love to help you get off to the best possible start. Visit evolveadvisory.co.uk to find out more.
And we'll come back to town. I'm just interested for those listening that perhaps are thinking they need a side hustle or they're thinking about getting into the business and they are perhaps, as you did, watching some of that socials about Forex, crypto, drop shipping, all of that. Words of advice? I'm not sure you're saying stay away from it.
No, make your own mistakes. So if you want to do that. Yeah. I don't think nobody's going to stop somebody from wanting to try all these different things, but people generally aren't making as much money as they say. Yeah. People generally are trying to sell you on a dream and they're trying to capitalize on the fact that you're scrolling through social media.
And you have a need.
And you've got that desperation. And so you're more easily sold to. Yeah. And I've been sold to under those conditions before. I know people that have. Yeah. And there's always this undercurrent of hope. Yeah. And the fact that you want to do that, if you are listening and you do want to, that's a very, very good thing. You should explore that. But don't go down the internet guru crypto bro. It's not worth it. You'll save a lot of hours if you don't. Find something else.
Yeah, find your thing. Find your thing. But you've obviously clearly learned lessons through those experiences, which you're now applying into town. You are just a year into your journey, and you are at that stage of you've got your MVP out there, you got your first paying customers, which still remember my first paying customer. And you remember those days and moments. You're sort of developing the tech and the products. Where would you like to be in 12? There's that whole grand, where do you want to take town eventually? And we sort of skirmished around that. But in the short term, where do you want town to be in 12 months' time?
I think you can think about minimum viable products and minimum viable networks on several different levels. You can look at it on like the micro level, like, okay, we've made town work in one business. And like, what does that network look like? Yeah. Because town is a network product all the way up and down. Yeah. Even on the most micro level business, on an individual business level, it's a network because you've got the business and you've got their customers. And that is a network. And can we make it work in one place? So we get it set up. Yeah. The business offers rewards. The customers scan their town pass. They earn the rewards. They see the value of that. They see the benefit of earning cash back when you're going out. Just those little bit extra. Yeah. But then can we scale that up to an entire town? I'll go into Uber here. When Uber was setting up, they understood the importance of a minimum viable network because you had to have enough drivers to service enough passengers. But if there were too many or too few drivers, it would balance that side of, or if you had too few or too passengers. So you have to keep this network in harmony. And we're looking at the same problem. It's called the cold start problem in startups. How do you kind of bootstrap that networked product that has to be a network in order to work? But when you first start it, there isn't any traffic.
You've got neither, have you? And then inevitably you do get a bit more of this and not enough of this. And
So, but a lot of my daily thinking goes into how do we tackle this problem? How can we bootstrap up enough businesses that offer town rewards to make it attractive for customers to be a part of so they can earn their rewards in one business, spend them in another. And you have to have a good diversity and spread of pay points as well. because if people aren't earning enough rewards to be able to go out and treat themselves with a coffee, then they might not see the value in it either. So it's trying to keep a lot of spinning plates aligned. Where I'd like to be in 12 months is that we have this working across an entire town.
Okay.
So we have that minimum viable network of a few hundred businesses, a couple tens of thousands of people, and everything kind of just works and it keeps going and it's sustainable. That's where I'd like to get to.
Josh, that's a great way of thinking, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people in your shoes that would be thinking about the fact that we're just going to scale. Let's go get businesses wherever they are across the South Coast. But you really want this to work in one town.
We considered doing that. We considered like, oh, let's just go scattergun. Let's just approach a bunch of
paying
random
customers.
businesses.
Let's just get paying customers.
But we'd just be setting ourselves up for failure.
Yeah.
Because we could do that. I could do that right now. I could spend 3 weeks. I could go out and I could sell towns like crazy, make a load of money. So get like 50 businesses on board. But they would all leave after 2 or 3 months because the ecosystem that would be sustaining them, it's not there. No. So it has to be grown. Like things, you can't just skip a space. Things have to kind of organically grow. And so building it up in one town, I think, is the only way that this will be successful. I think we have to do that.
Yeah. I love the fact you're doing that. It's got integrity, it's got value, it's got a real belief in what you're doing. Do you not think at some point that's a restriction in your ability to scale and grow this business?
We're looking into starting the kindling in a few towns nearby to us geographically.
Yeah, we talked about Wimborne, we talked about Boscombe, didn't you?
Yeah. In the thing with town is it's not inherently restricted by geography. No. Like it's an internet platform. We know that any business anywhere can use it. It's just that it's stronger when everybody's involved.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if we can figure out how to do that in pool, we've got a playbook. And then when we do take capital, if we do to scale, we could take $1 million and we would know how to deploy it.
Yeah.
We know what that spend looks like. We want to spend 12% here. We spent 38% here. We spent 5% there. And that's how we bootstrap this network up. And then we can go and test it in Dorchester and test it in Bristol or Brighton.
Yeah.
See if it works there too.
Brilliant. And so are you collecting that data? Are you developing that playbook?
I'm glad you asked me about data because data is really important to us because Amazon has a lot of data. When you scroll on Facebook, Facebook's
how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, 10,000 data points, I think, per swipe or per scroll. So like they're psychometrically evaluating you. They're seeing how aggressively you're scrolling or swiping. They're seeing how many microseconds you're staring at particular images that have been semantically tagged. The depth of the data hole,
I'm scared now,
is insane. It's insane. I'm not trying to be scary. I'm just trying to say that they are collecting absolutely everything.
It's their model, isn't it?
And that's how they get you hooked in. Whereas, Money Cafe down the road, or the sandwich shop, they don't have that. No. There's no AI camera staring at you while you're ordering a sandwich. Yeah. Where are they looking at? What the bead of sweat coming down the forehead? What do they really want? They don't have that. But we think that they should have more data. So a big part of what we're looking to do as well is to provide these businesses with a way to collect more data so they understand what products are doing well, which aren't, what the trends are that they should be aware of going into next month, what the trends that they might have missed over the last year. We want to be that, again, plugging the gap. They don't have that right now. There are no solutions that do. The existing POS providers like Square and SumUp, we've looked at those, taken them apart, seen exactly what they do. They don't do this. They could do, but they don't. So this is something that we want to do. We want to help businesses compete.
As well as being a kind of online network and platform and sort of a discovery kind of place and a loyalty kind of app, you're going to go to the point of sale place and
we want to
try and collect the data there.
We want to be more proactive as well. Okay. So it's not just passively being a platform that people can stumble upon, discover somewhere new. We want to be nudging people as well. If we can figure out what somebody likes, what gets them, like what they really enjoy doing, and maybe it's, there's a certain type of product that they really like. Yeah. And maybe more shops in the area should offer that product. Maybe there's one shop in an area that starts selling something that does really well, but maybe everywhere should kind of know that. So we want to kind of join the dots and say, hey, a rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah. You're all the boats. Please let us raise this.
Help you all together to make independence thrive. And have you thought about failure?
All the time. I stare failure in the face all the time.
And how do you overcome that sense of trepidation?
Because I try and think what will happen if I fail, like very specifically. I can't remember where I was taught this or who said it, but a long time ago, best way to cope with potential negativity is to, this is what I do. This might be terrible advice for somebody else, so don't.
If it works for you, it's good advice. So
I imagine in great detail what that looks like. I imagine having to go and tell people that I failed, having to speak to my co-founder Alid, having to speak to my partner, having to speak to my family and friends, people that I have made a lot of sacrifices and I've not gone out to social things that I've been invited to and they've probably heard less from me, and having to tell those people that I failed and how that would make me feel. And then I use that feeling to push me through.
Take that energy.
Yeah, take that energy, keep it inside. And I was like, right, well, A, they're not going to hate me.
Yeah.
They're probably still going to love me. I'm probably going to be okay. Nobody's dead. We're all good. And then B, yeah, I don't like that feeling too, even though it would probably be okay. I really don't like that feeling, so I'm going to use that.
Going to channel it.
Channel that energy into a laser point.
Brilliant. I like that. Love that. And around that whole kind of piece of this brain that always wants to improve, always wants, possibly, and a lot of business owners suffer from this, is looking for the new shiny thing. And I kind of get that Town's giving you that opportunity right now to explore different things, but how have you kept focus? Because it would sound like focus on one thing has been a challenge in the past, but you're 12 months into this journey, you're talking with passion. How are you keeping focused?
Well, if I go running off towards something shiny, then Alid gets out a fishing hook and sticks it in my butt, and that helps.
Yeah.
We keep each other quite balanced that way.
Okay.
And also I remember that it is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And it's a bit cliche, but you're not going to find success if you just do something for 3 months, feel a bit of resistance, and then give up.
Yeah.
Like, you do have to push through resistance and friction quite heavily sometimes. And I don't even want to know how many people had a great business idea but just didn't speak to the right people and then gave up because maybe they didn't get what they wanted inside a year. Whereas if they'd have just kept going a bit, that could have been a massive company and potentially a game-changing one. I think, don't be the person that stops mining 2 inches before they hit the diamond.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going. And it's,
believe.
when do you know when to pull the plug? I don't know. That varies. I think it would be about demand. If you can't find demand or paying customers and you are actually trying to sell.
And have you and Alid had that conversation? Are you just still focused on driving forward?
Well, for us, where we are now, we've got a point where we're like, I can pay myself now from the company, which is a really nice point to be to be at. But I wasn't there for the whole company, and we have had conversations that he raised and saying, hey, what does the failure state look like for this project? I wasn't able to answer him because for me, it was just so far beyond that. I'm not sure I can answer that, honestly, because we've always had that enough pull for us to think, okay, there's something here.
I suppose if you've got enough pull, using your words, then that's fine, isn't it? But I do think there is a balance with startups between inevitably some people giving up too early.
Yeah.
First point of resistance, as you say. But there's others that possibly pursue it to the nth degree,
to the point of
where actually there was a point of realization that, again, using your language, there wasn't enough pull.
Yeah, you have to create a framework for yourself. I think it has to be self-set. Nobody else is going to
There has to be some discipline, doesn't there?
Say if you're having 5 to 10 meetings a week with people who you consider to be potential customers, and you do that for 3 months, and you've had maybe 100 meetings, 100 potential customers, and none of them want to buy your product. Maybe it sucks. Maybe it's not a good product. Maybe you need to pivot. Maybe being a business owner isn't for you. I don't know. It could be product. It could be you're speaking to the wrong people. It could be the wrong time. It could be the market conditions are crap. Any of the above. Or maybe you're just building something that nobody wants. But if you're not feeling that something's broken, so you kind of need to then go away, assess, move down that checklist, investigate each item on it, think, where is this going wrong? Is it me? Is it the product? Is it the customers? Is it the whole concept? And then move on, pivot, or go do something else.
Go do something else. And I'd like to just explore, you've got Alid as a co-founder. So how have you found the experience of having a co-founder in the business?
I think it is more or less essential. I think you can...
It's a strong statement.
It's more or less essential depending on the business that you build.
Yeah.
it's essential for me. I'm not a programmer, so it would be quite hard for me. And a lot of people now thinking with AI that you can do it all on your own. And I think that's dangerous because I think when it breaks, you're not going to be able to fix it, and it will break.
Yeah.
No matter how.
You've still got to have technical ability, haven't you, to be able to work out what you need to do?
I think it depends on who you are as a person and what the business is. Look at what the business needs. For us, we're building Town, which is a tech platform for independent businesses. So it requires a whole bunch of different skills, one of which is tech. I knew from the outset that I wasn't going to be able to do this by myself because I'm not a programmer. I knew that I didn't have the capital, and I didn't want to go down the route of just paying somebody to do it. It helps to have somebody in the business with equity, who has a stake, who is driving it forward, because they're on the same page as you then. Yep. You're never going to find another agency or an employee who has the same passion and discipline and cares that much about the concept as a founder. I think you have to be a founder to have that. And so if you have two people that have that much passion and energy and drive towards a business and are both willing to work 14 hours a day, that makes a massive amount of difference because they're literally doing double the work of somebody that just has one founder. And if you can find 4 people, great, double it again, because that means that you're literally moving 4 times faster than somebody who might be just as equally intelligent with just as much capital and connections, but you're going to get outworked by the 4 founders with less than you do.
It's an interesting perspective, isn't it? Because others may say that actually I've got the idea, I've got the belief, I've got the drive. I suppose it comes back to I've got some funding, or self-funding or third-party funding. I can employ those skills, and I can give the business sole purpose and direction.
As somebody who's very intelligent once told me, it's much better to have 10% of £100 million than 0% of nothing, or than 100% of nothing.
Somebody put it better than I usually say. Do you want a slice of Victoria sponge, or do you want a cupcake? But it's the same analogy, isn't it?
Exactly. And as I said, with AI, it changes the equation because it's true that you can now output a lot more work as one person. But don't forget that everybody has AI, so it's meaningless. It's still relative to other people. And it's Y Combinator say the same thing. Y Combinator, the largest startup accelerator in the world, they write 200 blank checks every quarter or every 6 months to 200 of the smartest, brightest, most promising startups of the year. I think 90% or something like that of those have 2 or 3 co-founders. I think it leans towards a higher end because they know, the statistics show, you are so much more likely to succeed if you have a co-founder. And the more co-founders you have, linearly, the more likely you are to succeed.
Yeah, data proves it. And we should probably touch on AI. You've talked about AI being able to write code and does it or can't it and all of that kind of thing, and the need for still somebody tech in the business. And I agree with that. Are you a little bit fearful of the way the world is going? Somebody that's passionate about independent businesses, the high street, and then you've got AI looming there and the changes that will inevitably bring to all of our lives. Are you fearful or embracing of AI with your philosophies and principles that you have, Josh?
I think it's very, very important to remember that AI is a tool. It's a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool that people attach a lot of emotional opinions and viewpoints to, but nonetheless, like a hammer, a very complicated algorithmic hammer, it is still a tool. And it's very important that we as a species do not become afraid of tools that we make, right? That's stupid. We shouldn't do that. We should only ever be fearful of the one wielding the tool, right? So AI is very powerful. It's like dynamite. It has the power to do a lot of things, both good and bad. That means that we need to treat it with respect. We need to understand that it's not a toy, it's a tool, the same way that you don't go giving a hammer to a 5-year-old, right? And it's the respect and how we move forward. I'm mainly embracing because I think that the good that AI could bring in terms of advances across medical science, biochemistry, quantum physics, all that good stuff, I think is huge. It's obviously got the potential to do harm too, but we need to be careful of that, and we need to make as many accommodations as we can to mitigate that from happening. But my viewpoint on AI is that it's a net good for the world. I think we should be more embracing of it generally, and we should try and be less emotional about something that is just a computer program.
And it doesn't go away from the fact that humans are humans and humans want connection, does it?
No, humans, we mesh with our tools in weird ways because we're weird animals, right? We're weird, conscious animals that are aware of ourselves and we're aware of everything going on. So when big changes come like AI, we're naturally going to be scared because we can imagine, we're aware of the possibilities, and people are generally more negativity. The negativity bias is a real thing. We had to evolve to see a lion before we saw the fruit on the tree next to it. The same way that we evolved to see AI and the threats it could bring before the fact that it might potentially cure cancer. I think there's a societal viewpoint shift that needs to happen. We're not yet ready for AI, maybe more so than anything. We're going to have to mature a little bit as a species, I think, as we use it.
But do you think it, not just there, but tech, you really believe there is a movement back to people wanting to work with and interact with independent businesses at a human level?
Well, it's weird because I was just singing the praises of AI, but I think that it is also going to lead to a massive, massive global trend towards in-person connection. Like, I think that might be the biggest trend of the 2030s, say, is just experiential, emotional connection is what people are going to gravitate towards, because there's a whole generation now who were there growing up during COVID and who know TikTok better than they know their parents, and that grew up and they see things very differently, but they're still people. They're still the same animal underneath.
Yeah, still got a heart.
Still got, right? Yeah, even though they're just surrounded by all this stuff. It's still the same people. You look back at old videos from like the 1960s and 70s, it's hard to believe that they're still the same people, because they are, and they act so differently. We've changed in such a short period of time. But yeah, so Town is partly built around the idea, the belief, our hypothesis that people are going to crave in-person connection more and more and more and more. And that's not going to go away. It's just going to get stronger.
Brilliant. And what's the best piece of advice that you've received in this journey so far?
Best bit of advice I've received was probably by my partner. She's very supportive.
Okay.
She is very, very supportive, but she's also keen to remind me that this is my thing, and that as a founder, you care so much and you're so passionate about, but the world keeps going on outside.
The world keeps spinning.
Exactly. So you can like lock in, but just remember that this is your thing.
Yeah.
It's not anybody else's. There's no obligation on anybody else that this has to succeed. There's no pre-written, thing that you are going to, this is destined to succeed. You have to work really hard to make it happen. Nobody else cares. You have to make them care.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of founders, you become quite inward looking as you go through the journey. I think it's the same with athletes.
Yeah.
Is you do all the training and your family.
Anything that's high
performance, you have to do a lot. And it's remembering that, like, I'm choosing to do this thing. I'm not entitled to anything.
Yeah.
The people around me don't owe anything. If this fucks up, I'm still going to have to go out and do everything as before.
Yeah.
Just keep yourself grounded.
Try and keep it in perspective.
Keep it in perspective.
It's hard when you're in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're in it and you really believe in it.
It's the most important thing ever.
Yeah. It feels like that, isn't it? But you've still got to keep perspective. You've still got to keep those relationships. With the ones you love. You still got to do some of the other things in life that you enjoy, haven't you?
Yeah. Still remember what it's like to feel joy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a place of addiction nearly where some people only get to the point where the only joy they get is through their business.
Yeah.
And that's not living either.
I wonder if that's a pattern, founder types, addictive personalities.
Yeah. I think there is definitely, myself, but others that I've worked with over the years, I think to succeed, there is a lot of founders with that addictive style personality, because you've got to some points become soul focused. But my lesson would be, you've got to see the whole world. You can't just be so focused that you self-sacrifice everything else in your life.
That's how you become like Elon Musk. That's how you become like a lot of the people we're seeing in power at the moment in the US, because they've just been in their own bubbles for so long. They've kind of forgotten what other perspectives are out there and what they're like. So like, don't let that become you. I think you have to be a weirdo to be a founder, and that's good. Keep being weird. Don't end up
Need
like
to be a weirdo. Well, he is a weirdo. But yeah, I agree that I think you've probably got to have a different, you do need something different inside you to succeed as a founder, I think.
It's hard to not pay yourself anything for 7 months and watch all of your friends go out and watch your family go out and have all this fun and do all this stuff without you that you can't go to because, hey, I'm broke right now, I can't afford to, I'm doing this thing. What are you doing? oh, I'm creating this platform that's for business. And I'm like, okay, are you making any money? No. So why are you doing this?
That's an interesting thing, though, and it's probably an interesting one for anybody who's thinking of starting their journey or in the same stage of journey as you. How have you dealt with the doubters? Because you've alluded to there must be some around you that have doubted.
Oh, constantly.
And
yeah.
how do you deal with the doubters?
By not caring.
Okay.
Because
is that easier said than done, though?
Maybe. It's a personality thing. And I know, I think I find it easier than a lot of people. I don't know what it is about me. I think because I've always been this way. I've always kind of from a young age had doubters.
Yeah.
And so I've always from a young age had to learn to just not care.
Yeah.
And I think it's the fact that they're always going to be there. You're never going to solve the doubters part of this equation. The only part of the equation you can work on is the you bit and how you react to that. So obviously the best reaction ideally is to not care. If you struggle with that, just go back and watch a 1996 video of Bill Gates being interviewed about the internet on a talk show in America and hear what the audience say, and they're laughing at him, taking a mockery of Bill Gates and the internet and saying he's never going to succeed. It's a stupid idea. It's silly. People are never going to buy anything on the internet. The whole thing's a fad. You should just give up right now, Mr. Gates. Sell your company, move to Mexico. Just watch that video. If you ever think, okay, people doubt me, maybe I should give up, just go watch that.
Brilliant. That's a good. I'm going to go and watch that video, definitely. And you are part of this year's intake cohort for the Evolve, the BCP Digital Hub Accelerator program. You're only a few months in, but how have you found that program to date, Josh?
It's amazing. I love it. And it keeps me sane as well, because you're in a group with people who are in the same kind of life cycle phase of their business as you are. And it's rare to get that. People don't walk around with a sign on their back saying, hey, I'm a founder. Exactly. So it's just really cool to get to be with people. And the most, like the learning that we do during it is great. The people that come in and give talks and that's great. But like for me personally, the biggest value add is just being able to connect with other founders. And when I go into a session, I don't know what I'm going to come out gaining, but it's always something. Could just be like a random throwaway comment that somebody makes when they're talking through their latest plans or their marketing strategy or something. I'm like, that's a really good nugget of information I never would have found otherwise. And David that hosts the sessions, he's amazing. And I've met some great connections through it. Caddy's one, we're now working with her. We are Boscombe Group. And that was a connection made through the Accelerator. And we're hosting a night market event with them in 2 weeks' time. So
fantastic. But I absolutely agree. It's one of the things I'm so passionate about Evolve, and both the business support, publicly funded programs we run, but also our peer groups, is I think when you put people in the room that can live and share similar experiences and learn from each other, it's really powerful, isn't it?
It is so powerful. So just put the people in the room.
Yeah.
Just even that space is enough.
And that's really interesting, because in our peer community, we used to do workbooks, we used to have subjects, we used to have focus, used to have an agenda. And now what we learn from that is actually that's great. It works. But the stuff that people get value from is we just get them in the room and get them to share their good, their mad, and their bad. And when they do that, they open up to each other, they support each other, they share ideas.
Business itself is unstructured.
Yes.
And it's those messy discussions that meander like the most winding path around the subject that you might want to take to it. But it's in the meander that you get to the good stuff. Yeah. That stuff isn't going to be surfaced with a structure or a workbook or
there's a time and place for learning and development, but actually putting people in the room and just getting them to share their experiences, as we say, is really powerful, isn't it? So as we start to sort of think about rounding up our conversation, if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're thinking, do you know what, I've got an idea, I've got a belief, I want to go and do it. What are the 3 pieces of advice that you would give them?
Okay. Firstly, if anything, if what I've said today has not scared you off, good. You're still in the running. If what I've said has made you doubt that, maybe that's for a reason. But if you can hear the facts about the startup journey, that it is likely to be brutal, tiring, you're likely going to lose some friends, you're not going to go out as much as you like to, you're going to feel broke, you're going to be stressed out every day, you're going to get up and it's just going to be you're going to have a ton of problems thrown at you, fires to fight, you're figuring things out, uncertainty. If that still sounds like, I'm fine with that, go do it. Brilliant. Just do it. My advice is just do it. Figure it out. You don't know what could happen. You don't know what could happen if you say yes. You do know what will happen if you don't do it, which is nothing.
Okay.
So those are your two outcomes, either nothing, guaranteed,
Yeah.
or a possibility that you are in the driver's seat of that you could make something really special and you could get to live a life that you're really passionate about. Those are your two options. Pick one.
Brilliant. Great advice. And if people want to learn more about you, get in contact with you, learn more about Town, where can they go?
Instagram @townrewards. Go to our website, www.jointown.co.uk. Sign up, get your Town Pass, get involved in the community. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Joshua Williams. We'd love to have you on board.
Brilliant. Josh, thank you for sharing your passion, your story today, and some really great insights on what it is like to be that early stage founder. And good luck in the months and years ahead.
Thank you so much, Warren, for having me. Absolutely loved it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Having founded and co-founded a number of businesses myself, I loved that conversation with Josh. It was just a reminder of what it feels like in that raw early days of a business where you start to get your first paying customer, you get traction, you start to prove that your idea can come to fruition. And what I loved about that story and journey and experience and conversation with Josh is that actually there are some great insights for us all that are in business, whether in that startup stage, whether thinking of starting the business, or actually whether we're established. There's some things I've taken away from that conversation I'm going to follow up on, and I hope there is for you too. If you are enjoying the podcast, please help us by subscribing on your favourite channel. And please remember, if you want to learn more about Evolve and how we may be able to help you, go to evolveadvisory.co.uk. Thank you for listening.